In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit, one God. Amen.
مرعوي دسيبركا بزا مرعتكا أنت مرعوي دسيبركا بزا مرعتكا كحج سيواني أكلكا كل انتناغا أنت مرعوي دسيبركا بزا مرعتكا أنت مرعوي دسيبركا بزا مرعتكا كحج سيواني أكلكا كل انتناغا.
About your background, who you are and how long you've been married, how many children do you have, and so on. How you got involved in church. A lot of questions, but.
Like you said, my name is Dellila. I was born here in America, and I served at Kidan Emirat, and then in Indiana. Then I moved to Texas, and I served at Deborah Jesus, and then I moved here to Atlanta, and now I serve at Deborah Zion, and Sunday school teacher there, and also been doing ministry for up to 10 years. Story. I think that's all you need to know about me. I have a YouTube page and a blog as well, and I talk a lot about relationships and marriage, and that's pretty much about me. So.
My name is Deacon Abiselom. I serve here in Atlanta, Deborah Zion Eritrean Orthodox Church. We've been married with Dellila for 4 years now. I think 2016.
Yeah.
4 years, and we have two beautiful children, Sophie and Marina.
Okay.
And I guess
Thank you so much for introducing yourselves. And also I'd like to thank the audience. We had so many questions come in from Snapchat, Facebook, Instagram, like so many questions. So what we did was we went through the questions and we kind of categorized them. And some of the categories we had were a lot of people had questions about physical touch, impurity, the process of dating, courtship, the idea of having a soulmate, roles in a relationship, a man versus a woman, like what are the roles, marriage and children, and so on. So we had so many different topics, so we separated them. We had so many questions, let's just say that.
Yeah.
I'll start off with one of the most overarching questions. So a question that we kept having again and again was, this is the main question.
Yeah.
Is it wrong to date in our Tewahdo?
Is it wrong to date?
Yeah, is dating wrong?
So I guess I'll answer this question since I made a YouTube video about it. So there's a difference between, I talked about how there's a difference between worldly dating and there's a difference between courting. It's not bad to go on a date, but there's a difference between dating to date, to get to know each other, but have no purpose for that. And there's a difference between dating for intending to see if this person is serious for marriage. So in the case of seeing if this person is serious and you want to get married, that would be called courting, because it has parameters and accountability to ensure purity. So in the Tewahdo context, courtship is what we would call our dating, I guess I would say, rather than just dating, because in the world, in the worldly context, when you say dating, it's more worldly. You don't have really an aim. It's kind of just, we're getting to know each other. We're just dating to date, and you don't really have an ending point. So, but when it comes to courting in the Tewahdo context, you're dating because you're looking towards marriage, and this is someone you wouldn't even be in the relationship if you weren't thinking about marriage in the first place. So you don't just date this person because you're just to enjoy your time or just to have fun. You're dating because you want to see if this person is for marriage. And that's called courtship because it has parameters to, like, for accountability, to make sure that you don't fall in terms of your purity. So accountability is like your spiritual father. You're around, you let people know about it. It's not hidden, it's not secret. You don't go in private places. That's how you keep your accountability. You never go just you two by yourself somewhere. Like, at least you have to be in a public area where there's people. That's a courtship scenario. So dating is opposite of that. But it's not bad to go on a date. It's just it's a different context, but I hope it makes sense.
So basically what I'm getting from you is dating is more so, I mean, courtship is more so dating with a purpose, with the end being marriage, and dating is just kind of like dating for.
Yeah.
Okay. And the next question we had that we kept getting was, is it wrong to date if the person's a different religion? So if the person is not Christian, is not Orthodox, is that okay to date them, or how should we go about that?
I'm gonna let my husband answer that question.
Okay. Thank you, Rita. Before I answer that question, everybody that we need to ask a question that ourselves is, what's the purpose of marriage? Okay, before we ask a question that is it okay to marry someone who is Orthodox or not? Do you want your marriage to last? Or if you answer those questions, do I want my marriage to last? Or another question that you need to ask is, what's the purpose of, and some of the problems that can happen in marriage. So as much as you can, it's better to avoid some kind of confusions and differences in marriage. Marriage by itself has a lot of difficulties. Okay, no matter what, whether it's your marriage is a God's will, and God gave you that person, no matter how holy that marriage is, it comes with some kind of struggle. Okay, so we have to accept that. Okay, when we think about marriage, most of us, we think about that, everything is fine. So it doesn't work like that. Even if you have a holy marriage, okay, you still have to go through some difficulties. So why do we want to add more confusions and more difficulties by marrying someone who's not Orthodox? Especially when you are, especially if you are really serious about your faith. Okay, if both of them, if they don't care about their faith, maybe that will work. Okay, they don't care. But if one of them care at least, or if both of them care, or at least if one of them care about their faith, then it's a problem. Okay, they're gonna have kids. When they're gonna have children, if he's not Orthodox, maybe he's gonna say, okay, we're not gonna baptize this child in Orthodox church. And you are serious about your faith, and you want to baptize that child. And
we've seen that happen.
And I'm a deacon, so I've seen a lot in the church. Like, people come and cry. Like, after they get into this kind of relationship, his family or her family, they get really a big fight because of this. So why do you want to put yourself into that kind of situation by marrying someone who's not Orthodox? I guess that will answer the question. Okay. Instead of just being saying it's wrong or it's not wrong, just what's the purpose? Like, why do you want to put yourself in that kind of situation?
Do you have anything else to add, Dellila?
I was gonna say, I know someone in that situation, and during holidays it's kind of hard because they want to celebrate their faith, but then the other one doesn't. Like, which one do you celebrate? It's just a lot of confusion. So, and you want to have the same mind. You're one. When you get married, you become one flesh. So if you're one flesh, then you should be able to teach your children the same values, the same faith, the same ideas about God. And when one person has one point of view, the other one has a different point of view, it's just like it's not ideal. It's not really a good situation for the kids, and it's not good for you either, even for each other. So
actually, we have neighbors like that. He's a Muslim, and she's Orthodox Tewahdo. I know her for a long time, and now they got a baby. Baby's not baptized, almost 2 years old, and the family got in fight and all that kind of situation. So we don't want to get into that kind of situation. So I think that will answer the question.
Okay. Thank you so much. Okay, next question. Okay, so a lot of people had questions about age gaps. Is it how do we go about age gaps? Is it like, what's a good age gap? Is the age gap even required? What if the man is older than the woman? What do you guys?
Well, I'm 6 years older than Dellila.
But I didn't know that at first. I didn't know that until after a while. But it was before we were married, though.
Yeah. So
He doesn't look his age.
And you guys both got baby faces, so.
yeah. We don't look our age, but anyways, but back in the days, it was not really a problem. My dad is about 20 years older than my mom. Okay, so but they have very
That's a little bit too much.
marriage, a lot of things. But no, what I'm saying
Back
is,
in the day, yeah.
what I'm saying is like it's the time difference. So, but now we cannot do that. But me personally, I prefer if the guy is a little bit older, a couple of years. I would say maybe 3, 4, up to 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
The reason for that is a woman, they tend to get mature earlier than boys. So a 20 years old man and a 20 years old girl, they're not in the same level of maturity. She's way mature than him. Boys are a little bit slower than girls. They get mature faster. Yeah, it's proven. So it's better if he's a little bit older, so they can be in the same level of maturity. So I see it from that point of view.
Okay. Dellila, do you want to add?
That's okay. Say everything.
Okay, thank you for answering that question. Next question. Just another common question. Like, is there such thing as love at first sight, or does love grow up? It happen all at once? Like, can you see somebody like, I'm in love? That's it. I found like this is the one. Or can you get to know somebody and love them that way?
I think you can see someone and be attracted to them and say, okay, this is someone I want to get to know. But I don't think you can say you love them, because love requires you to know that this is the person that God has for you. And, I mean, you have to really feel like you have to really know them. And if you don't really know them, you love what they look like. And I think for men, this is more of an issue maybe, because men, they have visual is very important to them. So maybe they can get captivated by somebody and then say they love them, but they don't know them. So they love what they see, and maybe they can attach themselves to that person because they like what they see. Though maybe they can just be like, okay, I don't care what your personality is, I'm gonna marry you. Like, I don't know. But I don't think that that's really love. I think it's more infatuation, because it's not deep either. It's just kind of like surface level by their looks. So to me personally, I don't think that that's.
Yeah, but I mean, what Dellila said, you can be attracted to that person, but the love things develop after a while, after living together, and it comes with the time. It's not something that can happen by just looking at someone, oh, I'm in love with that person. It doesn't work like that. Maybe that works in movies or something, but it doesn't work.
You'll be infatuated with them, but
yeah.
Okay, so that kind of goes into the next question, like, what's the difference between love and infatuation?
I think when you're infatuated with someone, you just, it's kind of the surface level. When in the beginning of a relationship, when you're just like, oh my gosh, like everything's just like so exciting. Like that's kind of the surface level. But then over time, it's not the same. It's more of a deeper love over time. So that's the difference between love and infatuation. Is more emotional. Yeah, that's a good point. It's more emotions. It's more butterflies and all that kind of stuff. It's what you feel in the beginning of a relationship. But then over time, it matures and becomes more serious, and then you get to know that person more, and it's a deeper love than the beginning one. But it might not be as roller coastery and not so emotional, but at the same time it's more stable love. So,
Okay.
would you say anything?
Yeah.
You want to add anything?
No.
No,
she said everything.
I don't want to forget you. Okay, the next question is a good question. I think a lot of people have this question. And it's in regards to finding the right partner. Like, how do you know you found the right partner? How can you find a right partner?
Well, it's in the Bible. It says the man finds the good thing. So I'll let you answer that.
Yeah. Well, again, I'm going back to the point that I made earlier, which is if someone is looking for someone, and I assume that person is ready to get married. Okay, so if I'm ready to get married, then the next question is what kind of person that I want to get married, or what kind of person that I want to spend the rest of my life with. It's a very important question. You know, even when you go to college, you know, before you decide what to study, you do a little bit of research, okay, for something that you can even change. But this is a lifetime commitment, so it requires a prayer, it requires fasting, and the question that needs to be answered though is that person can help me get closer to God. Before we decided, you know, is that person is the one or is another person. So if that person can help me get closer to God, if that person can help me to achieve all my spiritual goals, the same from your side to that person. So once you answer those questions, now at least you have some real criteria for the person that you're looking for, not the criteria that we, you know, always have in the world, that, you know, this kind of person, this tall, you know, whatever, short, or skin color, you know, all that kind of things. Those are, I'm not saying they're not important. Yeah, you have to love the person that you're going to live with too, like even physically. I'm not saying it's wrong, it's a good thing, but that's not a priority. The priority is that person going to help me get closer to God. So after spending time with the person that you think is the right person, you will see if that really can help you get closer to God.
Okay.
Not only that, but by keep praying about it, especially if you have good relationship with God. If you're really in love with Christ first, okay, yeah, it's very important. If you're not in love with Christ, if you don't have that really good relationship with Christ, it's not going to be clear, because your decision is based on the things that is in the world. It's not going to be based on the Word of God. It's not going to be based on your spiritual goals if you're not in love with Christ. But if you're really in love with Christ, He's first in your life, then the decisions that you make is going to be based on that, the Word of God and the love of Christ. So I think that matters when you choose someone that you are going to live the rest of your life with. So, yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing. So the next question we have is about family.
Yeah, but Richard, on that one, when people ask that question, they always expect answer kind of formula. Like first you do this, second you do that, and then third you do this, and then you'll find this person. I wish it worked like that.
Yeah.
But it doesn't work like that. Like, you know, you do A, B, C, D, and you find your, you know, your husband or your wife. But it doesn't work like that. So, yeah.
I think just keep fast and pray. Like don't, like he said, don't be emotional. Like don't just be like, oh my gosh, be emotional. Like just you pray about it, fast about it. If you have to, fast about it. Seek God, seek your spiritual father. Don't be emotional. Emotions lead you to the wrong way.
What do you mean by like being emotional? What does it mean to be emotional?
Going based on what they said or what they did, like kind of like they texted me this, so that means they must love me, so therefore, you know, or they gave me this gift, so they must love me, or they, you know, you don't be emotional. Don't be like, don't do everything based on feelings, or try not to get emotional too fast, or say things to each other like too deeply too fast or something like that, because you don't know whether you really like them, or if you don't know if this is really the person for you, or if you guys just enjoying the infatuation phase. So it's better to be prayerful, and you know, seek God, like Dr. Abiselom said, keep seeking God and try to find out. Your relationship with Christ is more important, because it will guide God will guide you to the right person, rather than you trying to, you know, formulate formulas and stuff like that.
Okay. May we hear the word of life? The next question I have is kind of diving a little deeper, and this goes into like families and like how your family kind of helps dictate who you're going to marry. So the person asks, should a family member be deciding what's good for you in a relationship? What's the family's role when it comes to relationships?
Well, the family, which is parents, you know, mom and dad, they raise you, okay? So they did a lot of things to get you to this point. They sacrifice a lot. So you cannot exclude them from this kind of big decisions at all, but you're not going to let them decide all the decisions that need to be made. Okay? At the end of the day, it's your decision. You can get their advice. They can be part of your decision, but cannot just make them to decide all the decisions that you need to make, finding the right person, and about marriage and wedding and that kind of things. So there has to be a limit, not only in that stage, even after they get married. You know, we know this for a fact that a lot of marriage, get destroyed by
In-laws,
families, involvement, and a family, in a marriage. If you let them to involve a lot, you have to make a limit for them. Okay, mom, dad, this is your limit. Okay, you cannot do anything. You have to be clear. You have to be really clear about that, because no matter what, it doesn't matter how old you are, you still their baby. Okay, so they still gonna be on your side if something happened in a marriage, even if it's if it's your fault, they still gonna be on your side. Okay, they're your family. So it's better not to it's better to be very clear about their limits. So I'm not saying exclude them at all, but they have to be part. But yes, set some kind of boundaries. But and at the same time, you cannot just tell them no. You cannot decide. And of course, they cannot decide, but they can be a part of it.
Yeah, and I've heard of people who they let their parents, pretty much they decided who they're going to marry based on what their parents wanted, and then they were unhappy later on, and they were like, I wish I would have thought about my own needs more than my parents' needs, because your parents are they're going to live their own life. I mean, they're going to be part of your life, but it's your life at the end of the day. And it's between your relationship with God mostly, and then your parents. They can advise you. They can. They love you. They want to see you have a good life. So you can get their advice, but at the end of the day, you need to know what you're getting yourself into. So.
Okay, so basically what you all are saying, just to summarize, is like to make limits and make the decision based on what you've talked about with God, basically.
Yeah.
Okay. This question is, I think, resonates with a lot of people. Okay, so it's, if there's a spiritual connection which draws me to them, what should I do?
What do they mean, spiritual connection?
You know, I'm not exactly sure, but what I'm thinking, I have my own thought on this. But do you want to go? I'm not gonna answer the question because I don't know how to answer this question. But I think kind of goes into like soul ties. Like if you have a spiritual connection, like you feel really connected to this
Is that
person.
chemistry? Do they mean chemistry? I don't know if they mean chemistry.
They didn't say chemistry. They said if there's a spiritual connection, which draws me to them, what should I do? Like they feel drawn. I think they feel really connected.
Yeah. So if when they say that they have some kind of spiritual connection, that means if that person is a diakon or mezemran, they like what their mazmur, they like their kadase. Is that what I mean? That spiritual connection, or
I'm not exactly sure, but I mean, maybe
it's not really clear.
I think maybe they feel something when they're with that person. They feel something, and they think it's more spiritual.
Okay.
And maybe I think that's what I'm thinking. But just pray about it. Don't go by emotions, because you never know. That could be emotions too talking. So pray. Always pray. Seek God. Maybe go some period of time without talking to that person, and just like without talking to each other, and then just be praying and see what God is saying, so you can think clearly and not communicating all the time with that person. So sometimes when you're communicating a lot with each other, you don't know, you kind of your mind is kind of, your judgment is kind of clouded. So maybe take some time away from them for a minute, pray about it, seek God. Try not to do things based on emotions and feelings and things like that, because feelings go up and down. You can't trust feelings.
If that person is here, I don't know, whoever asked this question, if they make it more clear.
Okay, so I was directed to turn off comments. Sorry, everybody. I can turn, at the end, I'll turn them back on. I'll turn back on here in about like 10 minutes when we get closer to the end. And that way, if we have time, we can answer them. But I think, yeah.
But I think...
Sorry about that, everybody.
Okay.
Sorry, what were you about to say, sister?
I just said, I think we pretty much answered it, so...
Okay. The next question goes into like kind of like roles between men and women. This question says, how does a woman show interest with Christian decorum without looking desperate and forceful? Like how does a woman ask, like if she's interested in somebody, how does she like go about that?
I have an answer, but I would like to hear the man answer.
Go ahead.
Well, in the Bible it says, "He who finds a wife finds a good thing." So it's up to, and in the Bible, when like people in the Old Testament, when they used to look for a wife, it wasn't the woman looking for him; it was him looking for her. And of course, Eve was made from the rib of Adam, and Adam found her. So it's up to the man to find you. So you don't need to go search for him and create all these different ways that he's going to find you. You kind of have to let go of that control and just know that you're worth being found and you're valuable. You're very valuable, and the person who finds you is going to find you at the right time. But your job is not to go searching for him. Your job is to be a person who brings something to the table. Be a woman who is a woman of God. Love yourself first, and have a good relationship with God. You need to serve. You need to make yourself busy serving. Put yourself in the places where a man that you would like would be. Like, if you would like a man who is a spiritual man, be in a spiritual place. Be at conferences. Don't be looking for men at the conferences. Be yourself. Just be there because you want to serve, or you be there because you're that kind of person. But if you go to a bar, you're going to find a bar kind of guy. If you go to a conference or a church, if you go to a club, you're going to find a club kind of guy. So you need to be the kind of person who is attractive to the man you're looking for, and be the person that man is looking for too. So he's looking for a woman of God. He's not, you might be saying, I want this kind of man. I want him to be like this, but are you even that kind of person yourself? So be the kind of woman that would bring something to the table, and just keep yourself busy. Serve, keep your relationship with God, love yourself, serve, and I think that the man will find you in the right place at the right time. But you don't need to try to go find him and ask men and do that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Even in any creature and animals and anything that you see.
Even the animals, if you watch nature.
Yeah, if you watch nature, nature can teach you. What I mean by that is that almost 100% of time that you see the man is looking for a wife, not a wife, or a woman is not looking for a husband. Because as a human and a woman, she deserves to be found. And it's an honor when a man came to her and asked her for a relationship. It's an honor for her. So it's a blessing, and I think that's what should be the right way to deal with this kind of situation. But if you really want to go and ask a guy for a relationship, I mean, good luck with that, because usually it's not going to. I'm telling you from a man perspective. Usually it doesn't.
Men are not attracted to that.
Yeah, no, they have that pride and kind of thing. So we can argue that someone that they did that ain't work, okay, but most of the time it doesn't work. I can tell you that from a main perspective. It's not going to last, and yeah. So
And if
you
you
deserve to be found, basically. Like
Yeah.
you see how much you worth. Think about yourself. How much do I worth? Like you're supposed to be someone that a guy is looking for you and find you. And just like they last said, if you go to a club, you will find someone who is clubbing, Monday to Monday. But if you go to places that that you can find someone who is closer to God or can help you, grow in your spiritual life, then spend those kind of time and places.
Okay, we'll move on to the next question. Thank you for answering that one. So the next question is the process for dating or courtship different if you are a deacon, if you're a member of the clergy as a deacon?
Okay, yes, to answer that question. Well, the process is same. There's no difference. The only difference that I see is that he has a lot of people on his shoulder. Okay, the people that he served. He's not just one person. Okay, deacon and a priest. That person is just not only just one person. Okay, so if something go wrong, that can affect a lot of people. I'm talking about that. Let's say they're in a relationship. If they get sexually attracted to each other and they end up having sex, okay, so now this person, he's not a deacon anymore. That means he's not going to be a priest. That doesn't affect just him, one person, okay? If it's a person who's not a deacon, he can repent, and even the deacon can repent and come back. But the deacon, even after he repents, he cannot get his deaconhood. He cannot get that back by repenting. Okay, by repenting, he can come back to God, but he's not going to get his deaconhood. So that's the only difference that I see. But is the process is the same? But I think how many people that will be affected by if something go wrong is a little bit it's a little bit difficult on the deacon. So yeah, I don't know if I explained that the way that I want it, but yeah. And if you get it, Dayla, want to say something?
Yeah, and I would say because of that, the courtship phase and the remaining pure in the courtship phase for anybody is very important. But in the especially if you're in a relationship with someone who's a deacon, then it's very vital because it's about it's his relationship with his vow that he made to God is going to be affected by and the people in the future if he becomes a priest who he would be serving, and all the things that God wanted to do through him as a priest, all those things is going to be the devil would like to derail you in your courtship so that he never gets to that stuff. in that so many people, don't get salvation and, or whatever blessing that they were going to be able to get. So the devil would like to derail you during your courtship phase. So of course, the devil's always trying to derail us from purity, but especially if you're a deacon, you need to be a little bit more careful. You need to be careful either way, but
not to say
I don't want to say that you need to be more
yeah,
careful.
We don't want to say in the message that it says, if it's not a deacon, then it's fine. It's not. That's not what we are saying. I hope you don't understand it in that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. I hope you guys got it. Yeah.
Okay. So that
Either
basically,
way, there's going to be a blessing. If you remain pure in your courtship, there's a blessing that you get. I can say from our courtship, we could just feel like the Holy Spirit was with us. Like it was so clear what we were supposed to do. It was just like, this is what you need to do. Because I feel like because God blessed us, our obedience, and I feel like we're still getting blessed because of that now. So just, you want to keep that blessing, do it God's way, because there's a blessing in it that you don't even know how you're being affected by that in the future.
okay. So may you all hear the word of life. I'm gonna open it up to comments again, just because I think we're wrapping up. We started like 40 minutes ago, so let's see if anybody has any questions that we haven't answered. Go ahead and write them, and we'll try to get to them. I'm gonna go to the next question in the meantime.
Okay.
Okay, this is a good one. So this is talking about the past of a person that you're getting to relationship with. When picking a person you want to spend the rest of your life with, should their past be relevant when choosing?
What do you mean their past, like before?
Like what they did, maybe like their history. I don't know. I think that's what they're referring to.
Mm-hmm. Well, if that person is, whether they have, really, I want to know if I really understand that question, because if someone is going through something really, really bad situation at the younger age, it can be physically or mentally, that can affect their marriage. But if the question is asking about things like, if that person is, in some kind of sexual relationship and, before, or that person who likes, to club a lot or drinking, things like that, as long as that person came back to God, as long as that person repents, I don't think that matters.
Okay.
Yeah. If that's a question, if the question is that their past is like their sinful past, if that's what they're talking about, or something that they went through, like emotionally or mentally, that they were something that really affected by anything, could be by family or sexually abused by someone, those kind of pasts. So I don't know which kind of past that we're talking about here. So if it's like a simple lifestyle that they had before, and if as long as that person repent and come back to God, that doesn't matter.
Okay.
Because we have seen that in a lot of saints' life. I'm not going to get into that, but you can read a lot of saints' life who were really sinful life and came back to God in one of the holiest people. Now we church honor. So that's, if that's the question, is I don't think that matters.
The only thing is, it matters if you're going to marry a deacon. If you had a sexual past before, you can't marry a deacon, right? I mean.
Oh no, she's talking about that you have to be virgin. I think everybody knows that. Yeah.
You have to be married. You have to be a virgin before.
Okay. We were getting some feedback in the comment section for questions, so let me try to go to the first one that was asked. Kind of hard. Okay. Okay, somebody said, is getting married at court a bad thing? You get married in a court, in their office, court office, state house.
It's not a bad thing, but you have to be married at church first. That's when that marriage can be official, in front of God. It's a sacrament. Okay, uh, that's one of the sacrament that, you know, we have 7 sacraments in our church, and that's one of the sacrament that we have in our church. And just like you get baptized, you know, just like you do the other sacraments, this is something that if you decided to get married, this sacrament needs to be done. And but the church is not against for someone going to the courts and, you know, do courts marriage. But if you decide to do that, the church doesn't know you as a married people, and it's not official in the church. Your marriage is not official in the eyes of God. So if you want to make your marriage led by God, and if you want God to be at the center of that marriage, if you want God to be the leader of that marriage, if you want Christ to be the head of that household, then you have to do that sacrament, the sacrament of marriage. But like I said, once you do that, it's up to you whether you want to go to the court. But without doing the church sacrament, it just goes to the court, and I don't think that marriage will be based on, you know, the Christ word or the love of Christ. So yeah.
Okay, I'll ask the next question. What are the roles of a husband and wife in marriage?
Roles.
And kind of speed up. I think we're running out of time.
Okay.
Okay. I think in the Bible it talks about how the man is the head and the woman submits to her husband. Is there anything more to? But are they asking like what is
what
that
is like
mean?
what is the role of a woman in marriage, and what is the man like? So can you explain that further? What does it mean to be the head? What does it mean to be?
Okay, for the head is, so the Bible says Christ is the head of the church, and the church is his bride. So and he died for her, and so she submits to him. So we submit to our husband, and our husband loves us, and if necessary dies for us, and we in turn submit to him. But submitting doesn't mean that you're just like, okay, whatever you say, everything's up to you. You still have a voice. At the same time, it means to submit to his mission. So do you believe in his? I'm sorry, guys. Do you believe in his mission? Do you believe in? Do you believe in his mission? Like, do you believe in whatever he's like? So if you look at a man before you marry him, could you submit to that? Could you be under whatever he's doing in his life? If he's serving as in Mezmor Kifli, or if he's a diacon, or if he's just a devoted a godly person, whatever his mission is in life, can you get under that mission, and can you be a team and work together for the glory of God? If you can do that, then you can get under that mission. And for me, I don't think submission is hard, because you basically kind of have to trust that he's a good leader, and that and it's up to him. Like if he makes a mistake, then you trust that, okay, it's on him, and then it's not like it's not on me, it's on him. He takes the responsibility of that. I gladly submit, and we are a team, and it's not like we don't compete for roles. Somebody has to be the boss. We can't both be the boss. Somebody, at the end of the day, it has to be somebody's responsibility, whatever decision has to be made. So if we're in the same, like if we're both like, what should we do? And I have a different opinion, I'm gonna, if he's really serious about his opinion, I'm gonna say, okay, you take the responsibility. That's your decision, and we our family goes with his decision. And it's not like I don't have my voice, but he considers my opinion. But in some cases, if it's this is what he believes is the direction we should go, then I have to submit to that. But he always considers my opinion. It's not like we just do whatever he wants or something like that. But just like in a company, everybody can't be the CEO. It's going to be chaos. Somebody has to submit to the CEO, and we do it all the time in work, in situations, in a respectful way. And it's the same thing in a house situation. And if one person doesn't submit, well, it should be the wife. the woman. And if she doesn't submit, then it's going to be two butting heads. So that's what I would say.
Just to add on what Dela said, it's very difficult to talk about submission in this, especially in the Western tradition. It's very difficult because people's understanding of submission is very different. And while people who came from back home, our understanding of submission, and the people on the West, the understanding of submission is a little bit different. Here, when you say submission, someone is like, just tell you everything that whatever that he needs to do, and you have to do that. Okay, that's not like that. But he's the head of the family, and I would say she's the backbone. So the head is not, the head is nothing with the backbone, and the backbone is nothing without the head. So his job is to love her, and her job is to submit.
Okay, somebody said, but why does the woman have to be the one to submit?
He's going to submit too. But this when I say that's why I say it's very difficult to talk about this submission on the Western tradition. People who grew up in the West.
But there's some areas where he submits to me. For example, the house decoration. That's up to me. So he submits to me in that area. There's but at the end of the day, in terms of our house leadership and our spiritual leadership and in general leadership, it's up to him.
Okay.
But and it says submit to one another, but
yeah. So that's from the Bible. It's not from their opinion. So it's from somebody mentioned it earlier, Ephesians chapter 5. So if you guys like this live that EROTM has done, please give us a thumbs up. If there's something else that you want to see in the future, if you want to see a part 2, give us like a smiley face. And if you guys have any other questions,
we can't see.
Feel free to send us a message on our Instagram or any of our platforms.